Hey, Facebook family. I know it's a little bit dark. I just finished a workout and this was on my mind and I wanted to share it with you. I want to talk about courageous living. And I got a call today. As most of you probably know, I do a lot of work around grief, both with peak performance and, how do you become the best version of ourselves more from an achievement place. But I also do a lot of work around grief, and I also do a lot of work around when people are going through really tough tragedies. And how do you have the tools to deal with when life just flat out sucks. And I wanted to share something with you today, and it's more on this conversation of courageous living. And it came from, I got a call from a friend today who was going through a really tough time. She got a call that her brother has been in a horrible accident and is in a coma right now. And she's struggling because when he comes out of the coma, she doesn't know if he'll be a vegetable. They may have to take him off life support. This may be end of it, but life as she knows it is forever changed. And she's in immense grief. And she called me in a tough place. And I wanted to share what I got from this because there's a lot to learn from it. And I wanted to share it with you because it's such a great reminder where we all go through this. We all go through tragedy. We all go through tough times. If you haven't already been through it, it's around the corner at some point. Some of us, thankfully, hopefully will never go through it, but we all die. And unfortunately, people die every day. And unfortunately, there's disease and challenge and accidents and things that go wrong. And so I really wanted to have just a loving, powerful conversation around courageous living. And I talked to this woman today, and I felt for her so deeply because she's in immense pain. Her whole world just got turned over. She has a business. She has a husband. She has 2 children. And as she came back from this discovery of what was going on with her brother, most men, as I've shared in other posts, most of us, and all of us, not just men, most of us have been taught, as a woman, big girls don't cry. As a man, when something happens, we don't deal with our pain. We put it in a box. And definitely, I will say there's a time and a place for that. Some things it's not about sitting in it and wallowing in it and being with it. However, what I will say is there's some tragedies, there's some things that happen that just wreck us, bring us to our knees, and we are deeply, deeply wounded from this experience. And it's based on our love. It's not the wound of we're wounded human. It's because we love so fully, so deeply, like from the bottom of our heart. And then somebody is taken from us, or some experience, something is taken, and we are heartbroken. So it's the wound is broken. It's heartbreak. We are so heartbroken, and that heartbreak, painful, it hurts, and it could take us to our knees. And the extent of it is there's no extent of how long that heartbreak takes to heal a wound, that wounded heart. And so what I wanted to share was, here's this amazing woman who came back, who has a business, who has 2 children. And as she comes back to integrate into her life, she's feeling unheard. She's feeling that her husband's not there. She's feeling, that her kids aren't there, which are all normal feelings. But the point I would really like to bring up is the reason a lot of this is happening is because her husband's been trained. The way that you heal is you achieve. We've all been trained. The way you deal with tragedy is you put it in a box and you move on. So here's this, who I see this amazing man who's trying to show up in the best way that he can to serve his wife. And he's showing up by saying, let's get on with this. Let's get this things done. So he's trying to help her and how he knows to help, which is to move on, move into the head, put this in a box and go handle things. And what she's feeling is like she's alone, like nobody's there for her. So this concept of courageous living is, in order to be there for somebody else, we have to be there for ourselves. So I want to bring up this concept of courageous living. If somebody's in immense pain like that, there's nothing you can do. You can't take away their pain. You can't fix it. This isn't something where you put in a box and get over it. This is being present with it and being there with somebody. They don't need you to fix it. They don't need you to take it away. They don't need you to do something with it. All they need you to do is be there with them and love them through it. And be patient with their process. And the only way you can do that is if you're able to do it with yourself. So I wanted to do a post on courageous living. Courageous living is the ability when we notice something's going on with our life. And I get this from Ken Druck. Ken Druck is an amazing man. He's radically changed my life. His whole concepts around courageous living. Now he's doing courageous aging. And he's one of the most gentle, loving human beings I've ever met. And he's the one that really helped me, was the one on my documentary that I interviewed that goes into 9/11 and Boston bombings, and has been with these families for years, and really teaches them how to heal their heart. And he's the one that I first learned this concept of, in order to heal our heart, it's courageously living and accepting that some things we can't fix. It's the acceptance of our broken heart. That acceptance, that place of acceptance and our ability to feel and to mourn and to be with ourselves is what allows us to be at peace. And that peace isn't in the moment. The peace is the whirlwind of emotion, which is life, which is heartbreak and feeling heartbreak. So I wanted to introduce this concept more because it's not understood. It's not practiced. Most people resist it because we've been taught all through our society to run when there's pain. We've been taught, I was just at the gym. I work out at the Mecca at Gold's, and there's all these very masculine, amazing humans that are athletes and amazing individuals, and you just see them crushing it, and they inspire me. But the energy that I feel there is this strong outer masculine core. Even for the men and women, it's this very strong core, which feels like breakthrough. And it's a very strong, powerful energy, but it also is, how would I describe it? There's this place of courageous living, of being able to feel. So I guess this is the concept that I want to bring forward, is when something strikes, when tragedy strikes, when life happens and we feel heartbreak, do you have the courage to live courageously in your heart? Do you have the courage to stand there in a moment of utter pain, sorrow, heartbreak that you can't fix, that is unfixable? And do you have the courage to be there with yourself? Do you have the courage to be with your emotions if it feels like pain and anguish and anger and fear and frustration? And at the same time, because what those are is, that is your heart. You are experiencing your love. So courageous living is the ability to have the courage to live courageously in your heart through the pain and the joy. It's the ability to be present enough with yourself so that you can be there. And if you're there with yourself, you can be there with those you love. You can be there with your spouse when they're going through tough times. You can be there with your children when they're going through tough times. You can be there with your friends. But most importantly, you can be there with yourself. And I think this is a really important topic that's not talked about enough. And so I wanted to share it because I just want you guys to be able to be there with those that you love. And so much of the time, especially as men, I feel like we feel like a failure because we're trying the best we can to help those we love. And if we're in our head, you're not present. If you're in your head, you're not there with those you love. You're trying to fix something from the head versus the heart. And then what happens is we feel like we can't fix it, and then we isolate, we self-sabotage, we beat ourselves up, and it's a cycle. And then we have this tough outer shell to not show this vulnerability. And so my challenge to you, my invitation to you, from my heart to your heart is, what if the way through it was to be vulnerable and to feel? And what if the way through it wasn't about breakthrough, but break into you? What if it was breaking deeper into your heart and feeling into your heart and accepting your heartbreak and accepting that you're just as heartbroken as the person you're with, and being able to feel that and acknowledge that and be there with yourself? What if that was what would set you free, which was what would set them free, and just allow you to have that peace you deserve? And so I just want to remind everyone, we're humans. We are humans living a human experience. And part of being human is having this heart. And part of what makes us human is love. Love is the most amazing feeling that we could possibly experience on this planet. And when you love somebody like a family member so deeply, it hurts so painfully when they're gone. Losing my brother was by far the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with. And I still feel heartbreak. And everything I ever learned about fixing it was wrong to me. That didn't resonate because there's no fixing this heartbreak. I love him so deeply. And that love is beauty. That is joy. That is passion. That is power. right? That's what fuels me. So why would I let somebody take that pain from me, which that pain is my joy? It doesn't mean I'm going to sit in it and wallow in it and like be this, I don't know how to, I'm still learning, so bear with me, because I'm trudging down a new path that there's not a lot of people willing, in my experience, to have the courage to trudge down and to bring this subject to light. So I'm still learning it, but I'm sharing where I'm at. And even though there's so much pain for my brother being gone, I have so much joy to see that that's how much I love. I get to experience my love through feeling the intensity of my love, my joy, my pain, my heartbreak, my anger, my sadness through the loss of my brother. And all of society trained me to fix it and to push it away and to not deal with that. And to do that was denying myself my love. To do that was denying myself unconditional love for myself. To do that was denying myself my love for my brother. And I just want to share this with you because I believe we're moving into an age of courageously living. And I believe that courageously living is having the courage to be with you, to live courageously through your highs and your lows, and to not give in to the temptation to avoid, to distract, to run, to move into your head, but to courageously live by staying in your heart, to be present with you, to be present with how that feels. And what you'll find is as you continue to feel when you feel like running, and it still happens, I'm in it, I'm practicing this work, and it still happens. And I feel myself want to avoid. I feel myself, when I can't sleep, want to put something to knock myself out. I feel myself wanting to watch movies or do things. And as I practice going, oh, what am I avoiding? Let me step into my heart. Let me feel. I feel these core wounds from my past. And as I'm able to feel them and describe the density of them and be there with myself, it's dense, it's thick, it's heavy. That's why we've been running our whole lives. But I'll tell you this, as I'm able to courageously stand in that and have the courage to be there with myself, it's like the rest of life, like the juice comes back, the sense of aliveness comes back, the sense of being human. I'm living from my heart. I can feel again. I can be there with somebody else in immense pain, and I can love them. I can be right here with them through it because I'm not being triggered by my pain. I'm able to love them because I see it's their love. And I can love them through it. I can see the gift and feel that gift that has pain and has sorrow and has sadness, but also have brought them so much joy. And I just want that for you. I want you to experience that instead of taking that away from your kids or your spouse or your partner or your parents, right? So many people, we're living in an age where we all have to face we're going to go at some point. And how can we be there with ourselves as we're moving through closer to aging, to moving closer to transition? How can we be there with the people we love, our parents, as they go through it instead of resisting, instead of running? It's hard. It's tough. I went through it with my grandparents. We moved them into a home, and to watch them deteriorate. My grandfather was blind. He couldn't see. He couldn't talk. He was blind. He had strokes, and he just sat there, and it was so painful to watch because I didn't have these tools. I wish I had these tools. I resisted. I ran from these. Just thinking back, I ran from the old home, if you will, the nursing home, because I didn't know how to deal with it. And to me, it smelled like death. So I ran from it because I was afraid of it, because I was afraid of my pain. And so I'm sharing this with you because if I would have had these tools now, I'd have the courage to be there with them, to love them through it. I wouldn't be afraid of myself. I wouldn't be afraid of my own pain. I'd be able to courageously be with myself and my heart. And because of it, I'd be able to be there with them when they needed it most. And because of it, I would be at peace. There wouldn't be any guilt or shame after, because I'd be there with myself, and so I could be there with them. So this is just a message from the heart about courageous living. You're going to continue to hear it. This is where my heart is. This is the journey that I'm doing with men in the men's retreats weekends. It's strong, courageous, powerful work. And it's practice. It's continually practicing it. And I'm going to share I believe that we're past this whole info marketing age. I'm just going to share all my content, everything I got with you, in hopes that you can be a better human, a better parent, a better father, mother, spouse, son, daughter, so that you can move through the world in a way that lets your light shine as a human that you deserve to be. And I love you. I wish each and every one of you a beautiful life. And so I'm going to keep sharing and sharing the insights that I get in hopes that you'll live a more peaceful, happy, joyful, and be able to stand in the moments when it's not. You know, it was a shower today. There was rain. It reminds me of my brother. And after the rain, there's this beautiful rainbow. So, you know, like, how can we see the rain and dance when it's raining? How can we be a little bit, sometimes it's cold and we're shaking. How can we just be there with ourselves through it? Right? How can we be there when it's raining outside in life and it sucks and it's sorrow? How can we be present? You know, when it's cloudy, when it's thunderstorms, and when it's sunny. It's all going to happen. I'm just here to tell you, anybody who's fed you, in my opinion, this is my personal opinion, that the whole goal of life is to be happy. I personally don't agree. I believe the point of happy is unconditional love and acceptance of who we are, and unconditional love and acceptance of the full beauty of life and all the divinity that it has. To me, that is where I find peace, is in accepting all of it. And the irony is that's what brings happiness to me, is an acceptance. It's the resistance or the fear or the struggle with the fear to what is that brings the pain. So I just wanted to share this with you, and I wish all of you a beautiful evening, and we'll talk soon.